All right. Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. Should be up and running here on both streams. Interesting last couple of days that we had. We'll be going over that. We already talked about what to anticipate here for the rest of this week. And so, interestingly enough, even though I didn't think it was all that likely, we did talk about the scenario that we are in now. So, we'll review that. Also, go over today's plays. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for August 19th, 2021. Q's up 0.48. SPY basically flat on the day, up 0.17. SPY, the weakest of the bunch, down 1.18%. Q's this morning was gapping down a little more than 0.5% after yesterday's sell-off into the close. So as you guys know, coming into this week, I was saying we need to break this pivot here, and we need to get follow through. That was kind of the main thing. Was that okay? Yeah, there's some areas of support here, but I need to see some kind of continuation to the break of the support, not just the break of the support, or at least the immediate support, and that's because there's more to the left, right? There's going to be more, so we need to see some continuation. Now, we hadn't gotten it as of yesterday. This morning's gap down does give us a bit of continuation. So we get through the support, and then we gap down. All right, so then we got it. So after we get the continuation, what I've been saying is then the next sell setup or the next breakdown, we can be bearish. All right, so that's been kind of the plan. It's been the general plan here for a bit as the market's been doing this kind of sideways, a little bit of a grind higher. Now IWM is totally different. Okay, IWM we're neutral and then turned back to bearish and now back at support. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a bounce here, but still just bearish on IWM still. Okay, we primarily were saying that this weekly was the primary time frame that looked bearish, and then the hourly also was in a downtrend. Okay, so this was what we call a sell setup right here. Retracement, declining 20 MA. That's what we call a sell setup, right? Because that's if we're talking about when to initiate the bias. Okay, if you say, if we break the support, I'm gonna be bearish right away. Well, how did we do it? If we come from a wide range red bar and then we gap down and then break the support with the gap down, that's not really the place you want to be starting a short position, right? So when I talk about starting the bearish bias, right, it's always in anticipation of also what is the timing of it. Okay, I don't want to just, start shorting at today's open and where's my stop going to go, right? Am I using the high here with all-time highs or what, right? Now, in this case, we have a sell setup, and that's what's already highlighted here because we went over it this morning and then reviewed it again in the afternoon. In the morning, we didn't have it form yet, and we didn't have it trigger yet. In the morning, I was saying we rally back up, we create a pivot, sell setup. I was more thinking we might not get the trigger until tomorrow, but we got it today. So the series of higher lows in the context of a downtrend, downtrending 20 MA, just slightly, but it is downtrending a bit, and then we triggered. So what does that mean for tomorrow? Tomorrow, over today's high, 365.68 there, SPY is going to be 441.14. Over that, no longer bearish. It means that it tried to produce the lower high here and failed. Now, doesn't mean that we have to, if we take it out just by a little bit and come right back in, that, the whole bearish bias is over. We're going to see it if it breaks and then, holds above, right? Then we know the sell setup failed. Sometimes we'll get these things where, they'll put in a bit of a topping tail and it'll come right back in and then downtrend the rest of the day or something like that. Then, we just have to use a little bit of common sense to know that, okay, it tried to fail on the sell setup, but actually it just, went up there, found there were no more buyers, and it's coming back in and continuing the trend that we have. And then just on a kind of, because of the tail or whatever, but not on a closing basis, the sell setup failed. Okay, so to summarize, going into tomorrow, bearish short term on the Qs and SPY. We still have an impressive weekly and monthly on the Qs and SPY, but the hourly is going into a downtrend, and then the daily is starting to break the uptrend here. Daily's not in a downtrend quite yet, so we'll see. But we do have an hourly pivot here. So today's high, the sell setup, they're the same thing. That's going to be our line in the sand. If we get above that, no longer bearish. Okay. So we got this pretty quick, this kind of setup, just saying, we get through the support, and then if we get some follow through, the follow through is caused primarily by today's gap down. So we have the setup, next sell setup. So that's what we'll be working with for tomorrow. All right, let's go over today's plays. NTNX, this play came up a little bit later in the morning. We didn't have it on the initial gaps list. But here was the play on the NTNX. Now, I did call a play, but I also tried it myself when I found it. I kind of just jumped in. I also just kind of jumped in and then saw it started to not work, and I jumped out. So I was initially using, as you can see, this box here, and then I lowered my stop here to this pivot. And so then actually lost a little bit to start off with. Okay, lost a little bit on this. It's just because, and it wasn't called because I just found it and it already looked like this. That red bar was already formed. I thought, okay, I like the gap a lot. I'm just going to try it. Okay. And then I didn't like that there was no follow through to the breakdown, so I jumped out early, but here was the gap. Okay. So then, you saw where I trailed to. Now, what do you notice about that trail? The bar that got me out got no follow through. Okay. So then, I called it for the room, replayed it also, okay, underneath this bar, so under 72. Okay, so we got back in. You can see that's a 2-minute sell setup, 5-minute sell setup as well. Okay, here's the 5-minute little sell setup right there. Find that it's extended on the 5. It's really early in the morning. That's fine with me. Okay, for the 5 minutes, just because of the gap. Okay, so that was good. The re-entry was good. It actually cut the stop in a half because this base was a little bit big, and then the sell setup gave me a much tighter stop, so that was nice. We got the nice follow through right away. We took a portion here right above 33, I think 40 was the first exit. Next exit was down here over 33, and then final exit was over 32.80. Okay, so that was nice. It was only a less than 30-cent stop. Okay, less than 30-cent stop. The last piece we got about 90 cents, and then this piece was about an hour. That was about 2 hours. Okay, on the NTNX, so that was good start there. Not sure what I was doing. Maybe I was messing with the NTNX. I totally missed this Cisco here. A really good gap bully. If you've seen the gap bully videos on what we look for in these, I think that this is 4 out of 4 as far as the criteria goes. One side of the 20 MA to the other. The gap down broke through support. The move up broke through resistance. So that's 3 out of 3. And then the weekly's in an uptrend. That's the 4th criteria. And so we want to play in the direction of the larger time frame. So that's 4 out of 4. Expect this to close at the end of the day. If you get in it, probably just hourly bar by bar. Okay, so that worked. And I didn't even see the good 2-minute breakout here. So that happens. It's all right. Nothing really I can do about it, but it was there. So I just wanted to make note of that. And then a nice little play here on the OTRK by Sammy into the afternoon here. Really bearish. Okay, now the gap at first a little bit too big. So I wasn't really on my radar in the afternoon. Actually, someone in the room reminded me about it as we were going to lunch. And then that's when from there I had a nice downtrend. All right, on the OTRK. So yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty standard kind of trading day, not especially difficult, but not easy either. As you saw, NTNX, I did have to try twice. Lost half an hour on the first play, but then the next play made a little over 2.5, so that was good. And then I think Cisco, the max was 4+. So if I caught this, I don't know how much I would have captured. Should have captured a good amount because the hourly did hold. And then then OTRK from Sam is also very nice. Just they close it at end of day and let it give you as much as it can. But you can see it, not too much, not a lot of stuff. You go back 2 weeks and it was like, play after play and a lot of them at the open. This is kind of at least the quality that we could find throughout the day. Like this OTRK is not till later. NTNX is at the open. Cisco's like later in the morning. So, pace of things a little bit slower now. Number of plays to evaluate and choose from is a lot less. So, back to quality over quantity. Okay, and I think if you know what you're looking for and you have a good, what's in your trading plan. Good trading plan is pretty subjective, but you're pretty comfortable with your trading plan. You know what's in it. This time is kind of a lot less overwhelming than earnings season. Earnings season can be very, very overwhelming and exhausting. It's fun, but it's also very overwhelming. Now is a little bit more normal pace because we're not into the period where there's like no gaps and it's like, September often is really slow. We still have some earnings, still have some gaps. So, it's a good time to trade really, I think. So hopefully you're doing well or at least staying out of trouble. All right. I hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow to finish out the week, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.